Okay, this video is about changing the tremolo block on your Floyd Rose tremolo system. This is a Floyd Rose 7 tremolo, original 7, so if you have a 6-string, this may vary a little bit. It should be the same concept. And I had to get a different tremolo block because I replaced the Lo Pro Edge tremolo on here with an actual Floyd Rose original 7, about $275 later. But the tremolo block that came with it was a 42 size, so I needed a 35, which is what you see me taking out of the package there. I'm just kind of comparing the size there, getting an idea of how much of a difference, which there really isn't a whole lot of difference, but for this depth of body, in order to work properly, it had to be the shorter 35. Now the first step is to remove the string lock screws, because you're going to have to remove the string saddles in order to get to 3 Allen key headed screws underneath the bridge saddles. So, and those are under a little bit of string tension, so you have to be careful there. Removing all 7 of those, and remember, there is a little metal block that those screws push up against in order to pinch the string in place. I'm going to make sure that those little blocks don't fall out of the string saddle as you do this, because once you pull these screws out, there's nothing pinching those little blocks into place. They don't fall out really easy, or at least they didn't in this brand new Floyd Rose 7. But you want to watch out for that. Once all of these string lock screws are removed, then it will be time to loosen the intonation lock screws. Now on this 7-string version of the Floyd Rose tremolo, you don't need to remove the 7th string or the 1st string locking string saddle. If you remove the locking string saddle for 5, 4, 3, and 2, you can get to the 3 screws that are underneath. I didn't know that. I was doing this for the first time, so I was loosening the 7th string. But there you can see I'm removing the locking string saddle for string 5. Going to the next one. I think I just decided to loosen all the ones I had to, so I could pull the locking string saddles out one at a time. And it's a good idea to mark these so you know where they came from, and you can put them back in the same order. I mean, they should be universal pieces, but it's just better to get them all back where they came from. Some people might even put a little sticker marking which locking string saddle was for string 3 or 4. And you can see underneath there now there's 3 Allen key screws holding the tremolo block on, and I'm pretty sure that's just the standard 3mm Floyd Rose Allen key head. They seem to come in a set of 3, 2.0, 2.5, and 3.0. I haven't done this in a while, but I'm assuming that's the 3.0 size because it is like one of the largest on. Yeah, a little tight there. One of the things I discovered here is as I get those screws out, there's a little plate that sits in between the tremolo unit and the tremolo block. I'm not sure if it's a dampener or what its purpose is, or a shim. I don't think it's a shim though, because you just put a different sized tremolo block in there. I'm taking a few pictures in this part so that I can post to the different social media sites. Alright, that's enough pictures. Get on to popping those screws out. I actually did this a few years ago. Just now working with the videos to get them up onto YouTube. Very, very well made piece of equipment. I was very impressed when I was working with it. Here we'll get to see the little dampener or shim, whatever you want to call it, that sits in between the Floyd Rose and the Floyd Rose tremolo block. What I ended up doing here is just kind of sticking the screw through the bottom. And clumsily setting this on top. But got the basic alignment and then flipped it over like this. There's other ways of doing this. The main thing is you just don't want to cross thread those screws. It's a little tricky, but not that tricky. If you're mechanically inclined at all, it's not really that tough. As I said, the main issues are not to lose the little blocks that pinch the strings, not to cross thread, not to over tighten, especially the intonation lock screws, because anytime you do something like this, you're going to have to re-intonate. So checking my alignment before I give it its final tighten. And you might want to use a torque wrench so that you can get an exact amount of pressure on these screws, but I've just been doing this for a long time and I can kind of tell with my hands what's the appropriate amount of pressure. I recommend doing most of this by hand. You just can't feel the pressure or tension well enough through an electric screwdriver. You can't tell if you're cross-threading it quickly enough to really make any difference. we're good. So now the next step is to get the locking string saddles back in place and tighten up those intonation screws just enough to hold it in place. Try to get these saddles back in the same order that they came out. Like I said, it's not absolutely necessary, but especially on a used tremolo, if it's already worn into a certain size of strings, you don't want the locking saddle piece for the 5th string put in the place of the 2nd string, because there's probably going to be a little bit of wear there. It's not going to match up just right. So. You don't want to tighten that too tight, as I said. That's my leather jacket I'm using as a safe space for my tremolo on my bench. Alright, here comes the last part, which is feeding the string lock screw back through to connect to the locking string saddle. And the really interesting part of this is those metal spring-loaded sections. It makes it a little tough to get the screw back in, which you can see I kind of bend it with the Allen key here in a second. Okay, I'd like to put this... Oh, no, that's not the way. What are you doing? No. You can tell I kind of was forgetting exactly how I got that through. But then I thought, okay, just need to bend this spring down so that I can fit this screw through. I think it was pictured. Oh, okay. I was figuring out what to do there. At first I used an Allen key to bend it. I think I eventually figured out how to bend it with my finger at the same time I was putting the screw in. Yeah, it doesn't go through that way. No cross-threading. Most critical. Why you should do this by hand is you do not want to cross-thread. The Allen key ended up being a mistake, and I just had to use my finger to keep the tension off of the screw from the spring. You can see how easy I stop about 10 times there because I don't want to cross thread it. With the spring tension and the shifty nature of the spring saddle or string saddle, when it's not tightened down, makes it a little tough. I don't know why I kept going back to the Allen key when I just used my index finger to take tension off long enough to get the screw fed through. Four down, 3 to go. have to check to see if I've got the pictures that I took along with this. And I can like feed them into the video in the final edit. So it's pretty straightforward. It's just good to be able to watch somebody else do it before you actually do it. When I did this, I found one forum on a Floyd Rose message board. That was about it. There's not really a whole lot. I guess I'm more talking about the process of swapping out from the Lo Pro to a Floyd Rose Original 7. There's not a lot out there, but here comes the last one. And the job is completed. From a 42mm tremolo block to a 35mm tremolo block. And it's worked perfect. You can hear the music that's playing in the background is an example of this guitar with this tremolo in it, so it gives you kind of an idea of the sound you get. And if you have any questions at all about the process, feel free to leave me some comments and I will do my best to answer your question. And if I can't answer it immediately, I'll do my best to try to find the answer for you. Thank you for watching and have a good one. Take care.